success has proven true again this weekend. Back-to-back one-hitters Thursday and Friday, combined with Gold Glove caliber plays yesterday, producing a 3-game win streak against the Reds. Ross Detweiler aims to complete the sweep this afternoon on Masson.
Washington Nationals baseball. Washington Nationals baseball.
It's a cloudy day at the ballpark, but quite comfortable. What a crowd yesterday. A lot of folks will be here today to see if the Nats can sweep a 4-game series. Something at this level that's really hard to do. Reds are 1-8 on the road, and the Nationals now with that 3-game winning streak way back over 500 at home, and we are used to that. Bob and FP, happy first anniversary to Bryce Harper. Later during today's game, we're going to tell you some things about Bryce that might amaze you. Meanwhile, the guy that plays next to him had one of the great days, bat and glove, yesterday we've seen all year.
Hey, when you talk about stealing bases, it's not always about speed, it's about jumps. When you talk about playing good center field, it's not always about speed, it's about jumps. And we've noted this year the jumps that Denard Span gets out there, just amazing. And yesterday, he flashed some leather and won the game for his ball club on defense. The second play he makes right here, watch how far he goes. He's shading Zach Cozart on the right side of second base. He has to go all the way in the gap. That ball looked like it was headed for the gap tie ball game. He ran it down, and he's just been amazing out there. Solid jumps, positions himself well, and had to keep his head still to make a big play right there.
1 year ago today, it was a Saturday at Dodger Stadium when Bryce Harper came up from the minor leagues for the last time, of course. And right now, he's totally dominant in the league. He's hitting .373. On-base percentage is 50 points behind that. What is this guy not doing right now?
Well, he's doing everything very well. Team records for home runs, 9, RBI 18 in the month of April, and he's just carried on a great spring training into April, and he's the talk of baseball right now. One of the best players going, obviously.
Last year, in his first 2 games, he went 2 for 6 with an RBI and a walk, crashing into the wall, playing defense. And then, of course, fast forward to 2013. In this series, 5 out of 9, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 walks. Nobody is getting this guy out right now. Ocean City. Visit Ocean City, Maryland for SpringFest May 2nd through the 5th. Find out more at ococean.com and by your local BMW Center. A sunny morning has become a cloudy afternoon. It's a good day for baseball. I'll tell you, one group of guys that won't mind it, that's the outfielders when things are a little cloudy overhead. No sun monster to attack them today. Train celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. So it's 67 degrees. They have the lights on under cloudy conditions. The umpires going over things for the fourth game of the series, and the Nats about to take the field. And don't we all feel a whole lot better than we did about 3 or 4 days ago, now that Washington has refound its offense, pitching staff doing well, the bullpen 1.88 over the last 11 games, and FP right now, as winning teams do, different guys are stepping up on almost a daily basis.
Yeah, and yesterday they did it with defense. Denard Span, as we just showed in the open, but to me, and maybe they got their swag back. It seems like the confidence is there. They're not pressing as much, and a big win against a good ball club to start this series off will do that for you.
Well, we told you we're going to tell you some things about Bryce Harper today. Folks, look at these names. Look at these numbers. First calendar year in Major League Baseball for guys 19 to 20 years of age. And Bryce Harper dominates Griffey Jr., Mickey Mantle, and Tony Conigliaro. See your authorized Dodge dealer. Experience a world of performance, design, and fuel efficiency. Schedule a test drive or log on to Dodge.com. FP, this is one of the greatest graphics I've ever seen, at least in recent years, that tells the tale of what a special young guy we're looking at on a daily basis.
Yeah, and how about it being 162 games today on his 1-year anniversary? So a full season under his belt now, and you see the numbers in the company. I love graphics like that, just to see the names right next to Bryce Harper, and he's doing better than all 3 of those guys. Unbelievable.
The Reds are 8th in the league in batting average. They're 2nd in runs and 5th in homers, and the Nats have done a good job shutting them down in this series. Brandon Phillips always hits the Nats well. 9 hits, couple of doubles in this series. He's 3 for 10 with a run batted in. He has 10 multi-hit games on the year, and he's one of the top 4 guys in the league in runners in scoring position production, and he's also 2nd with Troy Tulowitzki to John Buck in RBIs. Ross Detweiler has a good career ERA against the Reds in 5 starts, 2.48, but he has suffered from a lack of run support, kind of like he did earlier this year, and he's 0-3 lifetime against Cincinnati.
Now, last time out, another strong performance for Ross. He got the tough luck 2-0 loss against the Cardinals, outdueled by Adam Wainwright. In 6th inning, he allowed 2 runs on 8 hits, struck out 2, walked 2. Both of those walks ended up scoring for the Cardinals. So 3 pitches, fastball, curveball, change. He's been throwing the fastball this year 92% of the time. Set the defense for the Nats behind Ross. Harper, Span, Worth in the outfield. Desmond Rendon on the left side. Espinosa, LaRoche on the right side. Kurt Suzuki doing the catching. Remember the beginning of Wide World of Sports when it said spanning the world? I'm going to start calling it just spanning every time he makes a play like that, like Tebowing.
Spanning the gaps.
He's spanning. He's a verb. It's official.
13-year veteran, the crew chief, Sam Holbrook, has the plate. Paul Nart, Andy Fletcher, Rob Drake around the bases. The Nats are trying to grab some serious end of the homestand momentum to take to Atlanta tomorrow night. First step is right here. And Ross Detweiler fires a fastball in there. We're underway at 138. Shin-Soo Choo in this series, 1 for 10, a solo homer. He's hit 4 on the year, driven in 10. That one comes running inside. He's tied with Bryce Harper, multi-hit games with 12. And he's just 1 hit ahead of Bryce for the league lead with 32 hits in 25 games. Harper's had his hits in 24 games. Guys may or may not need the glasses today. 2 balls, 1 strike. Right in there to even things up.
And not that Ross Detweiler needed to watch Gio Gonzalez to get a game plan the other night, but Gio featured tons of fastballs, and I think that's why he was so successful against the Reds the other night, getting strike 1, throwing the heater, and we all know that Ross loves to throw that 2-seamer.
Well, we saw a lot of heaters from Jordan Zimmerman as well in this series. And good for Dan Herron. Got that 2nd win for him, so he's 2-3 now as he wins 6 and got a big hit yesterday. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He sat down there close to the action yesterday. Watched Dan Herron pitch, and I think the biggest difference to me wasn't anything that he threw. It was his body language and his presence on the mound. He was oozing confidence from the first pitch of the game, and we hadn't seen that yet this year. Yesterday we did.
Swing and a miss and a high fastball. 92 to start things off.
Yeah, we always say that 92 from Ross Detweiler plays mid-90s, and you see right there, you know you're getting a heater, especially in a 2-strike count. Little hop at the end, late life. Challenge fastball. Chu can't catch up.
Here's Zach Cozart. In this series, he's 1 for 8. 1 for 4 yesterday, his first hit of the series. He was on the bench Friday night. He's been struggling, hitting a .198. We know this kid's better. And he plays outstanding defense for Dusty Baker. Cozart came to the big leagues last year. 7 for his first 23, and then he finished at 246 with a Cincinnati shortstop rookie record 15 home runs. He's hit 4 this year. That's on the corner. That is unhittable. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
A 2-seam fastball, turn it over, 2-1 count, all systems go, and right to a corner at 91.
Yeah, later when somebody's on base, that's a double play pitch. Nats have turned some twin killings lately. Right side, Espinosa to his left, and maybe the ball hit the lip of the grass and hopped up on him. It looked like Danny was going to get there. Base hit.
Yeah, he was tracking that, had a good angle to it, had a good beat on it. And I think you make a good point. We'll see if there was a little tricky hop, a little in-between job right here where the grass meets the dirt. No, it just got under his glove. Clean single all the way. No bad hop involved.
1 on, 1 out, Joey Votto. Cincinnati came to town on Thursday night with 24 home runs. They've hit just 2 in this series. In a ballpark that plays a whole lot differently than theirs does. Votto has hit 4 on the year, including a solo here. He's 2 for 12. Well, he's got a great left field stroke, and that ball is fair into the corner. Heading for third, Cozart. Harper gets it back in quickly, keeping the run from scoring. Reds in business early here with their best RBI man coming up.
And you talk about Joey Votto having 4 home runs on the year. He'd have 4 home runs in this series if he was playing at home. He's hit a lot of balls to the warning track, a lot of balls in the gap. You saw Denard Span robbing him yesterday, but a double first time up right here. And Zach Cozart wisely held at third base.
So Votto 2 for 9 career against Detweiler with that hit. And here comes Brandon Phillips, who's 4 for 15 against Ross. First base open. Right-handed batter Todd Frazier on deck. And suddenly a tough first inning.
Ross Detweiler with runners in scoring position this year. 167 average against, 4 for 24.
Well, that's how you have a 1.38 ERA through your first 4 starts of the year. And a 1-0 is upstairs to the very aggressive Phillips. Your mission, our commitment. Visit agilitycorp.com. Most RBIs as a cleanup man, and Brandon Phillips with the Prince, who will be here on the next homestand, and Troy Tulowitzki. Major league lead, those 3 with 22.
Well, big pitch coming early in this game. The Nats 11-1 when they score first, 2-10 when the opponent scores first.
And they'll concede a run on a ground ball to anybody but the pitcher. Phillips just trying to guide that thing somewhere. Got around really late And a bunch of Nats are happy that there's a rail and a screen at the top of that dugout.
That's an early ugly finder right there.
Looked like it bashed right into the wall and left a mark. Phillips 4 for 15 career against Detweiler. Up the middle, base hit. They're going to send both runners, and the Reds lead 2-0. Single, double, single, and Cincinnati on the board early in Game 4.
Oh, just a nice piece of hitting there with 2 strikes. Spread out, take a little bit out of your swing, go right back up the middle. Just no stride right there from Brandon Phillips. Right back up the box, base hit up the middle. And look out, Ross Detweiler's coming right at you.
Todd Frazier now 1-on-1 out.
Yeah, that's the time when pitching to contact as a pitcher can hurt you. You need a strikeout. You don't really have a strikeout pitch. You just throw fastballs primarily. Maybe throw a curveball in there once in a while for a strikeout. The time early when you need to miss a barrel, it's tough to be a pitch to contact pitcher.
Frazier in the series 1 for 8 RBI. The Nats lead the National League in double plays with 28. Not always a stat you want to lead the league in, because that means a lot of guys are on base. Case in point, Houston Astros lead the major leagues with 31 double plays by their defense. Swing and a miss, and a very tardy swing by Todd Frazier.
Detweiler had 4 double plays his last time out against the Cardinals.
Frazier has hit into 3 already this year. That fastball stands him up. It's upstairs, 2-1. Frazier from Toms River, New Jersey, and a former most outstanding player in the Little League World Series from that well-known town that has produced so many great Little League teams over the years. Held on to everything and made the one-handed catch.
I'm thinking the regular guy look on the shorts right there. Got the Rodney Dangerfield shorts working. Check out the play. One hand off the chest, rolling around. Check me out, Denard Span.
2-2. Line drive foul. That time Ross Detweiler had Brandon Phillips retreating to the bag as he made his move home. It's going to be a long first inning. Long look at Phillips.
We can read swings off Ross Detweiler. We've seen a lot of kind of funky swings off his 2-seam fastball and guys not comfortable at the plate. That's not the case here in the top of the first with the Reds. They're taking some mighty hacks up there. They're seeing him big.
Two-two pitch. Got him on the inside corner. He froze Todd Frazier with a heater not far from his hands, and Frazier discusses that with Sam Holbrook on the Mercedes-Benz pitch track.
Yeah, we'll see him go away early and in late. Frazier didn't think it was a strike, and needed a pitch track.
Check out Mercedes-Benz on the web, mbusa.com. That'll bring in Jay Bruce, who is struggling. 1 for 10 in this series, 1 for 11 career against the Nats left-hander. But when this guy gets hot, hopefully he's already left town. Reds are heading to St. Louis for a 3-game series. Another indication of how bizarre the schedule is these days in Major League Baseball. When the Reds fly to St. Louis and play tomorrow, that'll be their second time there and the third series already between the two top teams in the Central. That is not right.
How do they make the schedule? They sit there at home the whole off season, kind of jot down some ideas,
well,
and then feed it into a computer.
I've heard computers are involved. But there are just some things that just don't seem to make sense.
It's the last time the Nats see the Reds this year.
That's a base hit. Jay Bruce got around that one. And the Reds. And there's a delayed trip to third. And if that throws on target, Brandon Phillips would have been out. He didn't look like he was going to third. And then suddenly at the second base bag, he accelerated.
Well, you see good base runners do that all the time. Larry Walker used to do this from Colorado. You just break down, you see the head go down to the defender because he has to look the ball in the glove. The last thing that Jason Wurz saw right there was Brandon Phillips pulling up. And he decided to turn on the Jets with 2 outs and get to third.
30 pitches already with the number 7 hitter, Xavier Paul, coming up. FP, I got to ask you. We love the way Ross Detweiler attacks hitters. But don't you have to give major league hitters a different look here and there? I know you're changing locations and eye levels with the fastball, but shouldn't you mix something else in just to give them a different look?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think Ross has been so successful with his fastball this year, there's no need to go anywhere else until that team shows you that they're seeing your fastball big and they're on it. And he hasn't seen that really consistently this year.
Until this inning.
Until this inning right here. You know, it's a mindset, and I think you have to admire the way he thinks. Even if you hit a fastball hard off me, I'm going right back in there with it. There's certain days when you have to go to plan B, and it might be today.
Xavier Paul, 1 for 6 in the series. He's been a pest to the Nats. In fact, he's hit a grand slam against Washington, pinch hitting back in Cincinnati. And so this 28-year-old journeyman is hitting .303. Former Nats farmhand who played 60 games and hit .315 at Syracuse last year. In years past, a 28-year-old guy hitting .315 at Syracuse might have been considered a pretty good commodity, but the Nationals organization has gotten so much younger and so much more talented. He ended up being released on July 3rd, and the Reds picked him up.
And plus the big league team last year having that great season, there really wasn't any room.
1-1 pitch. And Xavier Paul late for that one.
You know, I think, Cart, back to your point about fastballs, is you read swings. You know, Kurt Suzuki right now, Ross Detweiler, Davey Johnson, Steve McCatty reading swings from the Reds, and you know, you make adjustments accordingly, and they jumped him, ambushed him here in the first for a couple of runs, and they'll make the proper adjustments. You know that.
Swing and a miss. Oh, it's a foul tip. Just got a piece of it, and catchers will tell you it's either in your mitt or it's not. So it looked like he had struck out the side. And go to a 35th pitch.
And you can sit at home and look at the gun and read velocity and see location. Kurt Suzuki trying to hold on right there. But to me, it's more about what kind of hacks are they getting off against you. And the Reds seem to be seeing it real big right now.
Well, this is a good offense to try to hold down 4 days in a row. There's the strike out of the side. So feast or famine in the first for the Reds and for Ross Detweiler. Cincinnati on 4 hits picks up 2. Batting average at .240, 10th in the league in runs. Mazda starting lineup. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. So Denard Span hitting .345 at home. In this series, he's 6 for 11, 4 RBIs. He has taken runs away with his speed and his glove. He has put his complete game on display. You might notice Ian Desmond up in front of Adam LaRoche, and then Anthony Rendon ahead of Kurt Suzuki. Tony Cingrani. He's 23. He was a teammate of Anthony Rendon's at Rice, where he was a closer. 3 games out of the bullpen last year, and now he is a rookie big league starter, and a good one so far.
And last time out on the 23rd against the Cubs, he suffered the 4-2 loss, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits over 7 innings of work, struck out 9, walked nobody through 99 pitches, 66 of those for strikes. So 3-pitch guy, fastball, slider, change. A lot like Ross Detwell. He likes the heat, throws it almost 80% of the time, averages 92 miles an hour. And talking to some of the Reds people today, they say his fastball has late life and it gets on you because of his release point.
Yeah, look at him. He's rangy, as they say. 6'4", 215. Facing Span now, hitting .294. And Denard with an on-base percentage of .375. One ball, 2 strikes. This is when Denard Span really goes to work. Good contact, guys, so far. 11 strikeouts, 11 walks. Fastball rides high.
Yeah, we'll try to elevate it in 2 strike counts. And I think another point to make is Corky Miller back there. We saw him catch Homer Bailey the other night. He likes the off speed maybe a little bit more than Devin Mesoraco, their other catcher. Homer Bailey featured a lot of curveballs and splits the other night. We saw tons of fastballs from him his first time against the Nats.
Span left field, and he hit it too hard. Right to Xavier Paul. That man is locked in. Seeing it big, as you say.
You know, I think the reason it's hard to sweep 4 games from any team, let alone a good team, is because by the 4th day, no matter what the advanced scouts say, they have their own idea of what they want to do to you, both as a pitching staff and where to play you defensively. And you see Xavier Paul right here playing very shallow against Denard Span, taking away the line drive single. So he's watched the last 3 games, so have all the Reds in the dugout, and that was nice positioning by Dusty Baker and his defense.
Here's Danny Espinosa. From the right side, Danny's 1 for 11 this year. And hitting a .174 overall. In this series, though, 3 hits, a homer, 3 runs batted in. Man, you should see some good pitches batting in front of the 20-year-old number 3 guy.
Well, Danny Espinosa, you know, coming in hitting just 174, shaved his head today before the game, and I saw him in the clubhouse. I said, dude, you're going to be running out of stuff to shave here in a minute. Beard gone, hair gone.
1 ball, 1 strike, and a breaking ball. Man, I don't care how bad a telecast I have, I am not shaving my head.
Be awesome if you did. Shave your eyebrows too. I'd be all in on that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. You'd be handling all the on-camera duties, I can guarantee you that. Crowd quiet, waiting for some early offense. Somehow this count has been Espinosa's damage count this year. He'll take that one low and inside. Good eye. And Cingrani snapped that ball back into his glove. Don't know if he was unhappy with himself or maybe thought he should get that call. Rookie pitchers need to be careful about things like that.
That was a ball. Missed a spot.
3-2. Target outer half this time. Espinosa's late for it. 2 outs.
Let's set the defense for the Reds behind Tony Cingrani today. Paul Chu Bruce in the outfield. Say that 5 times fast. Cozart Frazier on the left side. Phillips Votto on the right side. And Corky Miller doing the catch. And this might be the all-name team, by the way, the Cincinnati Reds. Devin Mesoraco, Tony Cingrani, Corky Miller.
Zach, the shortstop. Xavier, the left fielder.
Joey Votto.
Shin Su, the center fielder. I like it.
Paul Chu Bruce in the outfield. I love it.
Bryce Harper in this series, just all over the place. 5 hits, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 walks. That's perfect on the corner.
But how about the symmetry of his 1-year anniversary? You know, they called up last year on this date, and he has officially 162 games played on his 1-year anniversary. Full season under his belt.
Yeah, suddenly appearing on all kinds of different lists compared to great hitters since the start of last year. They all had a 1-month jump on him. It was a 73-degree Southern California evening when he made his debut 1 year ago today. First at bat, he bounced back to the pitcher, Billingsley. Then he flied out to left. Then he hit that double over the head of the center fielder, Matt Kemp. And his 4th time up, he had a sac fly to drive in Rick Ankiel, who had reached on a fielder's choice. The Nats lost that game in 10 innings, 4-3, but a new era began. 2 balls, 2 strikes. No, that's outside, said Sam Holbrook, and Cingrani was on his way to the dugout.
96'd him right there on the black, didn't get the call.
Kinetic North America, what do they think?
They thought it was outside, but they also saw the 96.
(3-2). Harper got jammed, and he pulls it to Brandon Phillips. And so the rookie Cingrani does what you're supposed to do when you're given a lead. Came out throwing strikes. Luna, call today for the Luna Double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241-LUNA. Another great crowd here. A lot of folks walking around the concourse, checking things out. 2-0 Reds after the first inning when they got 4 hits. Single game tickets on sale now. And don't forget, on the next homestand, the Detroit Tigers are coming in. Short little 2-game series before we see the Cubbies. Go to nationals.com/tickets. So we will see 2 teams from the American League before we see the Phillies, which happens later in May. Another bizarre aspect of this year's schedule. Rendon on the charge on a bouncer, and he throws out Corky Miller.
A little thing right there. It just goes to show you how smart Anthony Rendon is. He knows the speed of the runner. And while a lot of guys will field this off the left, throw it off the right, maybe hurry a little bit, watch him set himself. after he fields the ball because he knows he has time. Throw right on the money. It's a little thing, but a very nice play right there by a young player. Could have thrown it underhand, run up the line, you never know, but he knew he had time, set his feet, made a good throw, and he's got some kind of arm, by the way. Very impressed with his glove work so far since being called up.
And we were impressed from what we saw by Ryan Zimmerman this morning. We'll have more on that shortly. He will be heading out on a rehab Tuesday. Ryan told me this morning he wants to play 3 or 4 innings Tuesday night at Potomac and then maybe 6 innings or so on Wednesday, and then take Thursday off and join us in Pittsburgh on Friday. That ball hits the bag, and that's the first major league hit for Tony Cingrani. Rendon was getting a read on it. They'll throw the ball in. His first major league hit opposite field, hit the base.
Check out this. That's the definition of an inside-out swing right there. Take that ball, and it hits the base, bounces up. You got to be feeling lucky right now if you're Tony Cingrani at first base. He got it going on.
The Reds have 5 hits of their first 9 batters. Detweiler faces Shin-Soo Choo, who he struck out, swinging to start the game. Left side, Rendon to his left, and it's dropped by Danny Espinoza, and he did not have it long enough for the runner to be ruled out on the exchange. They're going to have to give Danny an error on that. Fielder's choice E4. And the Nats, who've made the most errors in Major League Baseball, now have 22. Davey Johnson will argue that Danny had it long enough.
Well, he's going to ask Andy Fletcher, but watch the stop by Rendon. In between hop right there, gets up. It's a perfect feed to Espinoza, who maybe tried to be a little too quick on the double play. And I don't think that was on the exchange. Let's check it out one more time. No, that just popped out of his glove. There was no exchange involved. Davey Johnson went out, talked to Andy Fletcher, and got the answer he wanted to hear. I think they got that right.
Yeah, I think Andy Fletcher made the right call. Well, you give this lineup more than 3 outs, you're asking for trouble. Here's Cozart. He is 4 for 7 career against Detweiler after starting that rally with a 1-out opposite field single in the first. Speed puts pressure on defenses, and Danny knew he had to hurry with Choo running. It's a great block on a breaking ball as Ross Detweiler just dropped one into the dirt. So he's trying to give the Reds some different looks here. Wow, 43 pitches with 1 out in the second.
Yeah, error's an error, and right now Danny Espinoza feels bad and hopes he gets bailed out right now. But I think even if a run doesn't score right here, you talk about the number of extra pitches that you have to throw as a pitcher. And after Ross Detweiler's first inning, we had to work so hard to get out of it. Now that's where the damage is done. Hopefully, he can get a double play and redeem himself. But to me, that's where the real damage lies on all errors. It's not so much the run scored, it's the extra pitches that you cost your pitcher.
Bases loaded. One out, and Joey Votto coming in. Votto, big blow of that first inning that really set things up. The 1-out double down the left field line, and then Phillips with a base hit drove Votto and Cozart in. So Joey Votto in this series 3 for 13 in his career, 2 for 9 with a home run against Ross Detweiler. Hits it hard, base hit. 1 run in. Choo stops at third. 3-0, and the Reds have a serious line moving in this inning.
And Joey Votto, first time up, double down the left field line. So where are you going to look your second time up? You're going to look in. You know he's not going to go away again because that's where you hit it first time up. So you look for that 2-seamer on the inner half, and he's so quick to the baseball. It's just A smart hitter doing his thing. You know, you took away the outer half first time up. You look inner half second time up. Nice piece of hitting by Joey Votto.
Brandon Phillips. He's got the other 2 RBIs. That's a strike. The Reds are trying to bust this one open early. They were showing some signs of coming back from a big deficit yesterday, and then 2 key double play balls killed their offense the rest of the day. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a pitcher who gets a lot per 9 innings pitched. 2.28.
Yeah, needs one right here in the worst way.
See your authorized Dodge dealer. Log on to Dodge.com. We take you inside the numbers. They'll take you inside their great vehicles for a test drive. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, there's 2 ways you can go right here if you're Ross Detweiler, and I think we saw Brandon Phillips first time up, spread out, no stride, trying to put the ball in play. Tough to get to 93, 94 mile an hour fastball in the inner half with no stride. But if you go in there, you got to get it in there. Also has him set up for a curve. He hasn't seen anything but fastballs so far from Detweiler.
Yeah, and that goes for the first at bat, too. Wow. That thing would have hit about halfway up the screen if Suzuki hadn't stabbed it 3-2.
I mean, how many catchers in baseball can do that? 94 miles an hour up and away, jump up out of your crouch, backhand it into a jump.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is some kind of athletic ability and quickness. 3-2. Phillips right at LaRoche, and that's a double play. 3-6 as Zach Cozart didn't stay home at second base. Hey, that's not the way Ross usually gets him, but it's a double play anyway. DentaQuest provides affordable dental coverage for priceless smiles and reminds you to ask your broker about DentaQuest. Cloudy day at the ballpark, but it could have been a whole lot worse in that second inning. Hopefully Ross Detweiler can get things settled down. Huge double play line drive, LaRoche to Desmond, and that was an unearned run for the Reds in the second. So here comes Wirth, Desmond, and LaRoche. Bottom 2.
Yeah, keep it right there. Good damage control by Ross Detweiler. 3-run deficit. He never faced Tony Cingrani before, so get a look first time around, make the adjustments. You can put a run or two up there before your second at-bat, so be it. But we saw an interleague play with this ball club. When they haven't faced a guy before, they do a lot of research first time up and then make the adjustments.
Worth is hitting .320 over his last 20 games. He's had a good series, 5 hits. Has always hit the Reds well. But this is a whole new pitcher. No balls, 2 strikes.
I was a closer in college, like you said, Carp, and he has touched 99 triple digits before, but as a starter, obviously maybe pacing himself a little more with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, but he had that reach back 96 for Bryce Harper in the first.
Yeah, and he was not drafted in 2011 until the 3rd round, so a lot of teams passed on him. He went to rookie ball in Montana, had a 1.75 ERA in 13 starts. Bakersfield A ball, Pensacola AA last year. 25 starts. In fact, he pitched for Jim Riggleman last year at the Reds AA. But he's had a great ERA everywhere he's pitched as a professional. Worth a look at it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ian Desmond. He's had a good series. A couple of RBIs on base 5 times. Nobody in baseball driving the ball better than Ian Desmond. Worth will pop it up. Brandon Phillips with the early call. That guy can make a routine pop-up look fun. National signed local resident from Alexandria, Will Rhymes, is a minor league free agent January 15th. Parts of 3 years in the big leagues with the Tigers and Tampa Bay. And the William and Mary product is on fire at Syracuse. 11 for 35, triple, driving in some runs and scoring. Will, a sure-handed infielder who can move around pretty well on the bases. That is 30-year-old Will Rhymes.
Looks ready to me. I'll tell you what, Ian Desmond doesn't bunt very much, and Todd Frazier was 5 steps on the grass at third base right there, taking away the bunt from Ian.
And by the way, our minor league look, PNC Bank for the Achiever in you.
And he backed up right there, and Desmond shows. That's so much for my point about the 4th game of a 4-game series in the scouting report. But Todd Frazier playing the game down there, in, back, giving him different looks.
Got the call on the corner, 2-1. Desmond first in the league in doubles, 3rd in extra base hits. And more than half of his last 25 hits have gone either double, triple, or home run. 3-1 count. He's seen some tardy swings on his fastball.
Yeah, we talk about reading swings with Ross Detweiler, but reading swings right now from the Nationals hitters. Maybe having a tough time picking up Cingrani. He's got a little deception in that delivery, the height, and some late hop on that 92.
Then he goes upstairs with 93, 2nd strikeout. Adam LaRoche. He needs somebody to hang a curveball or throw a cookie right over the middle of the plate, or a hit to fall in somewhere. Adam in this series is 0 for 11.
0 for his last 22, and we were talking before the game, year anniversary of Bryce Harper, about Adam LaRoche a year ago today.
FP, he was hitting .333 with an on-base percentage of .412, and the night Bryce made his debut, Adam hit his 4th homer and drove in his 17th run. So he was carrying the load a year ago at this time, on his way to a fantastic Silver Slugger and Gold Glove season.
And he'll figure it out. Just right now in some kind of funk. I think it all started that first series against the Marlins, when he lined out about 6 or 7 times to the wall, and then maybe you start to get in your head a little bit and think about it because you don't have any knocks to show. But The way I look at it, Adam LaRoche has 5 good months coming to where he's going to get a lot of hits. They just ain't happening right now.
He's going to be called out on a fastball right under his hands. 6 in a row to start the game for Tony Cingrani in a 3-0 game. To hit for power and flex their muscles, and you can do the same thing. In fact, you can do it online. We call it a flex pack. 4 games, get a 5th one free. Nationals.com/flex. Check it out for 2013. It's a great way to see a free ball game and some great homestands coming up. As mentioned, Tigers and Cubs on the next one. Todd Frazier called out on strikes. First time up, leads off the 3rd. Ross Detweiler, first 2 innings, 53 pitches, 33 strikes. That ball is rocked into left field. Ross Detweiler's given up 7 hits to the first 14 batters. Let's go inside the numbers with Dodge. Drop by Dodge.com. So for lefties, more fastballs than anybody in baseball.
And that was a changeup right there to Todd Frazier at 83 miles an hour. He was all over it.
Jay Bruce, he got around a fastball and hooked it into right field first time for a single. Right at LaRoche. Great pickup. There's the 3-6. And back to 3. They got them both. Adam LaRoche, such a great first baseman. And nothing with the bat FP is affecting his defense.
Oh, that's because he's a pro's pro. 2 sides of the game, lumber and leather. And we all know about the leather from Adam LaRoche. Key to that is he got rid of it quick. Not a great feed to Ian Desmond, who did a nice job of sticking with that sinker that LaRoche threw him and getting it right back to him. I think it's important right now if you're Ross Detweiler to be mentally tough out there. You don't have your ace stuff today. They're getting some good swings against you, but your team's only down by 3 runs, and just got to keep pounding that strike zone, let your defense play, and hope that your offense figures out Tony Cingrani and got a chance to win this game. It's easy to go out there with your ace stuff and just throw it right by people. What do you do on your rough days? Do you keep your team in the game or not?
National League leading 30 double plays now by the Nats defense. Xavier Paul struck out swinging first time. Detweiler trying to get his buddies and himself scheduled to bat 3rd, right back into the dugout here. Xavier Paul goes for a new bat. Ross looking for that quick inning he's needed.
Yeah, for me, I could always tell more about my teammates and how they did on days when they didn't have their good stuff than days when they did. I think Ross Detweiler trying to show his teammates right now that he's going to keep them in the game, keep throwing strikes. And it's called finding a way to get the job done any way you can.
By the way, if you're wondering about the Tigers and the Braves this afternoon, it's not this afternoon. That's the Sunday night game. So the Braves will arrive in Atlanta a lot later than the Nats do tonight. That is fair. Adam LaRoche putting on a nice exhibition of thievery in the top of the third. Anthony Rendon coming in with Suzuki and Detweiler to follow. They trail by 3. AFCEA, the Association for Global Security Professionals. And Julie, a couple of former college teammates getting together today.
That's right. I actually got a chance to speak with Anthony Rendon about going up against his former college teammate from Rice University, Tony Cingrani. And I said, what was the one thing that stood out to you about him back in college? And he said he was always so confident. He was such a confident pitcher. And he always had so much confidence. And even though he hasn't seen him in a few years, he expects nothing less from his old teammate. I also asked him what his experience has been like since he was called up. And he said he's just taking it one step at a time and learning all he can from his very talented teammates.
Yeah, that's a great thought, because when Anthony goes back to the minor leagues, the next time he gets called up, this 2-week experience for him will do wonders, FP, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just getting a taste of what it's like up here. I just feel like he's one of those athletes that does everything so smoothly, a lot like Adam LaRoche on the other side of the diamond, to where when the game speeds up, he actually slows down. And I've been impressed with everything about his game. Maybe a little more aggressive at the plate because of major league pitchers having that out pitch with 2 strikes, but right now finds himself ahead 2-1. You get into a 2-strike count consistently in the big leagues, it's tough to hit.
It's 2-2 now. Cingrani tailing one to the outside corner. Well, Lance Berkman, Jose Cruz Jr. These 2 guys at Rice University program. It's not a big school at all in Houston. It's produced some amazing talent. And he lines that one right at Shin-Soo Choo. 7 straight to start the game for the rookie left-hander. Ryan Zimmerman was on the field this morning. And FP, you and I were watching him closely. The throws looked good. He later ran around the bases. I mean, he's looking like he's ready to play, and all those throws were on target today.
He's ready. Call him up. We watched him go first to third, run in the infield, and there was no reason to believe that that hamstring's not 100%. The throw's good. He did a nice job of closing that front side, getting his feet underneath him. We watched him take about 50 grounders over there at third, and he's ready to go. And they need him.
Yeah, that's a big bat, middle of that lineup. And then later, while other guys were hitting, Ryan was going first to third on the base paths, and the stride was much longer and much more fluid than it was right before he went on the DL. That hamstring was obviously really bugging him. So he'll play Tuesday and Wednesday. Nats are gone. Some of you folks go down to Potomac and watch the P-Nats down there. And then he'll be back with the Nationals, expected in Pittsburgh on Friday. Eligible to come off the DL that day. Kurt Suzuki in the series, couple of hits and a walk. Target in. Jam job. A chance. But it's going to be Phillips. He'll tumble after making the catch. Brandon was there in plenty of time, and that's 8 in a row now.
Well, that's gold is what you're looking at right there. I mean, a lot of second basemen don't even get to this baseball. Brandon Phillips way out there making the tough running catch. And then loses his balance at the end, but this had base hit written all over it. Shin Soo Choo didn't want anything to do with it. Brandon Phillips very aggressive right there, and Tony Cingrani approves. A little golf clap for the effort.
3 Gold Gloves, 2008, 10, and 11 for Brandon Phillips.
Got a little whiplash there at the end when he hit the ground.
Ross Detweiler 0 for 8 this year. He's an 051 career batter. No balls, 2 strikes. Two and two. Detweiler gone, and so are the Nats. 3 down, 3 innings in a row. Cingrani perfect so far. It's brought to you by the Hyundai Let's Go sales event now through April 30th. So you have 2 more days. Enjoy the hot dog, the mustard, the ice cold drinks, all the fun at the ballpark, and then get by your Hyundai dealer. Top of the 4th. And if hot dogs and soft drinks aren't enough for you, hope the Nats score 7 or more, and you get 50% off regular menu price online orders from Papa John's. Use that promo code NATS50. Valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia Papa John's locations. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of the Nats. Corky Miller, Tony Cingrani, and then Shin Soo Choo for the Reds' top 4. Just keep it close here. Second time around the batting order, right around the corner for the Nats. So they've seen Cingrani for 46 pitches. Detweiler has thrown 63. Bounced out Corky Miller first time up. That's the kind of guy you root for. He's been in the big league since 2001 with the Reds. Stops in Minnesota, Boston, Atlanta, White Sox, and with the Reds organization for the last 4 years. Although he spent the last 2 years at their AAA Louisville. And I would assume while he was there, he was a big help to young Devin Mesoraco and some of their other young guys. Corky Miller, 37 years of age, from California.
And just such a good job behind the plate. We saw that collision with Denard Span hanging onto the baseball.
That one's off Detweiler, and that's a base hit. Corky Miller with an infield hit.
That's probably something you don't see very often. An infield single for Corky Miller.
Oh, he'll bet that from his dugout, won't he?
Let's see where this got Ross Detweiler. Just a one hopper. Looked like off his thigh. It's kind of the way things are going today. Didn't ricochet to anybody. Little Bellata spin right there. Sits nicely for Corky Miller.
Yeah, so the number 8 hitter has a hit off the pitcher's body, and their number 9 hitter has his first major league hit off the third base bag. Sometimes in the early innings, it's just not your day. You just keep battling and hope things will turn around. Here's Cingrani, who should be bunting this time.
Well, with Corky Miller at first, he has to be very deliberate with his placement. He hit the tar out of that one right there. That's
Adam LaRoche was charging, and then he couldn't get himself back.
That ball was well struck. A lot of pressure on a pitcher right here when you don't have speed on first base to get the job done. You have to be very fine with your placement.
A 1 pitch. He deadens that perfectly. Anthony Rendon. And look at Cingrani get down the line. So that was 1-4. Sacrifice good. So in 2 at-bats, he gets his first major league hit and his first major league sacrifice.
Hey, he's hustling back to the dugout, too. What's not to like about Tony Cingrani so far in this game? Flying down the first baseline.
Ross Detweiler today, 3 strikeouts, $37 times 3 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. $37. That's Steven Strasburg's number for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season. And it's all thanks to the generosity of our D.C. area Toyota dealers. Third at bat already for Shin Soo Choo. Ross has struck him out. And then he hit that ground ball on which Danny Espinosa dropped the relay that led to an unearned run in the second. So the Nats have controlled this guy. He's 1 for 12 in the series. Reds a good hitting ball club, though, as I mentioned early. Even though they're only hitting in the mid-240s, they're second in the league in runs. Starting the day with 118, Colorado 125, as they usually do, leading the National League.
Yeah, but they felt the full wrath of this national starting rotation. Back-to-back one-hitters to start this series out. The first time that's happened to this franchise since 1900, when Brooklyn did it to him. And Dan Heron was a nice outing yesterday. As a hitter, when you come into town to face this staff, you get a base hit in the game, you're having a good day. They've done a nice job against this offense.
They got 9 hits yesterday, but only scored 3 runs. The double plays were huge.
I always say it reminds me of those series when you used to go down to Atlanta and face Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. And if you went out of there 1 for 12, it wasn't the worst series in the world.
Yeah. One ball and 2 strikes. Man, that was when the Brooklyn Ball Club was named the Super Boss. That's even before they were the Brooklyn Bridegrooms.
The Super Boss?
Super BAS, the Brooklyn Super Bowl. They took a while to decide to finally beat the Dodgers.
Did you dig into your scorebooks to find that out?
On loan from Phil Wood and Johnny Holiday. Two balls, two strikes. Danny Espinosa can charge that for a waist-high hop, 2 down. Well, speaking of one-hitters, Gio, then Jordan.
And they did it with fastballs primarily. Gio Gonzalez in attack mode the first game of this series. First inning, Joey Votto not happy, a little snappage, and then you see the pitch to Jay Bruce, but very aggressive with the heater, and I think the same can be said for Jordan Zimmerman, moving the fastball around against the Reds, being very aggressive. One of the best games I've seen pitched in a long time by Jordan on Friday night.
11 strikeouts, 3 walks, 2 hits in 17 innings by those pitchers combined, as Gio went 8 and then Jordan went him 1 better the next night. And then the Nats will throw Strasburg, Gio, and Jordan in the first 3 games of that Braves series with Dan Herron on Thursday. Look at Julio Teheran tomorrow, according to the Braves notes. This one left side. Oh, Rendon, what a pick! He is safe! The throw pulled LaRoche off the bag. And the Reds lead 4-0 with Miller scoring.
Boy, you could almost see that coming after an amazing glove play. Didn't have his feet underneath him and rushed the throw. Zach Cozart can run, so he knew he had to get away with it. Get the ball away quick, and it was just offline. Just pulled it up the line a little bit. LaRoche trying to sell the call. But that was the hard part right here. Didn't have his feet underneath him, kind of had trouble on the exchange, and that was the difference. Had trouble getting that ball out of his glove, and Corky Miller scores a 4th run of the day for the Reds.
Yeah, you could see him on that. That was a great replay, guys, by the way. Just couldn't get a handle, forcing him to rush that throw. They give him a base hit. Reds lead 4-0. They've scored in 3 of the first 4 innings. And Joey Votto's 2 for 2. He has a double, a single already. And this guy is cycle capable when he steps in.
And he got the hard part out of the way right here, and then on the exchange he had to double pump, and I think that's the difference. See the reach in and then reach again for the baseball, and now you're out of rhythm. Now you're out of sync, and you see the grip right there. He got the grip, but his feet weren't underneath him. He rushed the throw, and that was the difference in the play. I thought when I saw that in-between hot coming that he had no chance to glove that baseball.
Yeah. Switch to 100% fiber optic Verizon Fios. Supercharge your internet speeds. They bring us that amazing Exmo. 1 ball, 1 strike to Votto. Today's ball game, the difference between a winning or losing home stand, even though it's been a fantastic weekend already. Votto high in the air, left center. Span going back, and the ballpark will hold it. The Reds bullpen tired of watching Denard Span make catches right in front of them. You know, in Cincinnati, Joey Votto would have 5 or 6 home runs this weekend, but not here. Game summary. It's all about defense, pitching, and offense. The Reds are putting it together today. Joey Votto doing some big swinging. Cingrani 9 in a row. And he is looking good on 46 pitches.
Well, he's stealing the thunder from Ross Detweiler right now with all fastballs, almost 90%. And you see the late life on it, the deception delivery. He's got 96 in his back pocket if he wants it. So he's just been challenging the Nationals with heaters all day long.
Denard Span will lead off. "27 strikes in those 46 pitches. Sure seems like more. Fastball inside. Span had a great at bat. Just hit a laser right at Xavier Paul in left field back in the first. Then he was behind in the count, battled with 2 strikes. We're starting to see that form that Denard flashed back in Minnesota 4 years ago when he was totally healthy. Hit .311, drove in 68 runs, stole 23 bases. And now at the age of 29, he's 100% and feeling great and playing great.
We saw a couple of these yesterday from Denard Span. How about today? Joey Votto hitting the ball deep to left center field. Denard Span, not a problem. He's spanning once again. Those guys are like, I want you on my team. Reds relievers.
Yeah, but you know what he says to them? I can't catch those in your ballpark. They're in the upper deck. And Span is going to reach on a strikeout, a breaking ball that bounced. And on a strikeout, the Nationals get their first base runner.
There goes a perfect game.
Nice call.
Hey, you need base runners any way you can get them. You're down by 4 runs. One of the few off-speed pitches that Tony Cingrani has thrown today. Denard Span offers and then has the awareness to go to first. The ball kicks to the right, and he's there. Leadoff man aboard here in the 4th. Get Cingrani in the stretch, see what happens.
Yeah, how many guys you see hang their heads after striking out and they get thrown out? Not Denard Span. Here's Espinosa. Struck out swinging first time up, and Cingrani behind his 2nd consecutive hitter here. Hey, you get a guy or 2 on. Bryce Harper coming up. Worth to follow. Things for a rookie pitcher can change in a hurry. And FP, he's pitching off the stretch for the first time.
Well, you talk to pitchers, they get into a rhythm in the windup, and then if you're in the 4th inning and you haven't been in the stretch yet, I want to see how he reacts. Sometimes guys have a difficult transition. Very concerned about Denard Span with a 4-run lead. That's odd.
Yeah. Nats are down 3-0. They've had to battle 4-0 rather. They've had to battle to keep it at 4. A couple of double plays have helped. Davies Ball Club, 2 games over 500, 3 over here at home, and only 2.5 back of the Braves. You throw Mike Minor in Detroit tonight. Espinosa waiting for that changeup, and he dashes that ball to the right field corner. Span will be held by Trent Jewett. A good call with nobody out, and the Nats are in business here in the 4th.
A nice piece of hitting right there. Danny Espinosa got an off-speed pitch on the outer half. 7th double of the season. Rode it down the corner. So there goes the perfect game, and there goes the no-hitter. Danny Espinosa checking in with a double here in the 4th. 84 miles an hour, a changeup on the outer half. Great swing on top of that ball, head down. And down by 4 runs. Trent Jewett has to go with the stop sign, even though he's got the speedy Denard Span thinking about scoring.
Did you see that kick in the corner? The ball hit near the foul pole stripe and kicked right toward Jay Bruce. That had gone deeper into the corner. It might have been an RBI and maybe a triple. So the Nats have 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Bryce Harper bounced out to the second baseman his first time. Leads the Nats with 18 RBIs. That's in the top 6 in the league. Trying to lay down a bunt for a hit. Frazier way back and way off the line at third.
Yeah, I don't know if I want a guy hitting 467 with runners in scoring position to be giving himself up. I think he was going for a hit because Todd Frazier's playing right there, but still, got a guy with 9 home runs and 18 RBIs. Probably want him to be thinking about doing some damage in that situation.
Well, he must be confident enough that he can make some contact with 2 strikes. See what the rookie throws at him. Fastball up, and Bryce is gone on a pitch way upstairs. Strikeout number 5. Nissan will track it.
Yeah, just an elevator fastball and a 2-strike count. Got himself behind with the bunt attempt with 1 strike. Tries to get on top of this pitch, but Cingrani has that release point. The guys are having trouble picking up to this point. And just a hair tardy on that 2-strike fastball.
Choose Nissan.com. Great offers on our most innovative lineup ever. Jason Worth now. Nats have to get at least a run or 2 out of this. He popped up first time.
Yeah, I know it's a tough at-bat left on left, but I want my guy to be my guy there and think about a 4-3 ball game and not a 4-1 ball game.
By the way, Cingrani 6 strikeouts. I wrote K5 down on the Span strikeout when he went to first. Just forgot to update it.
It's like half a strikeout when the guy reaches.
So instead of a K, should I put like an I?
Just a lowercase k.
Okay. Worth skips back from the pitch inside, 2-1. Ian Desmond next. Worth, and that's ball 3. You've got to go throw this guy a strike. And now he's in control of the count here with 2 on, 1 out.
Well, if you're Tony Cingrani, you got to be careful right here. Jason Worth will cheat to that inner half on a fastball. You've seen him do it before. He'll look in, start his swing early, and think about hitting one in the bullpen. Count leverage. See what he does.
Big crowd making some big-time noise here. 3-1 pitch. He will take the walk, and the bases are loaded. At least today, this is where Davies' lineup comes into play. Remember, FP, he kind of flip-flopped LaRoche and Desmond, and it pays off here in the 4th inning as he gets the right-handed batter in there. So the first walk by Cingrani. Ian Desmond struck out swinging first time. And the rookie's under some pressure in what is now a 15-pitch inning with 1 out. And he puts one right on the corner.
And that's where everyone's been throwing Ian Desmond for about the last 2 weeks. Fastballs away, sliders away, especially right on right. Likes to hit with the bases loaded, 400 average.
So he's never hit a grand slam. Swinging for one there, and now he's going to have to find contact on 0-2.
96. This is where he's been going with the elevator fastball, the 2-strike count, climbing the ladder. See what he does.
Target way in.
It's a good pitch. A really good 0-2 pitch.
That opens up the outside for him, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a strike, but it had purpose. Move his feet. You can go upstairs or back away after that.
Bases loaded, 1 out. The Nats are down by 4. 2 outs. 3 strikeouts in the inning already. And it'll be up to Adam LaRoche.
Oh, look at the look right there. He's fully focused. Good fastball to a spot. And he doubled up on the inner half, and I thought that's the last place he would go. Perfectly placed heater from Tony Cingrani in a big situation this ball game. This would be a good time for Adam LaRoche to break out of that 0 for 23.
Oh, yeah. Then when you're struggling, it seems like every fastball's on the paint. That's way outside. And for a change, Adam gets an easy take. They have been nasty pitching him. And now the count's even. Left field, a ball flirting with the corner and slicing on a play, strike 2.
It's kind of been the story, a little bit underneath everything here in April and a little bit late, just a hair. I mean, he's not far away, but that foot's getting down just a tick late, and then you have to get underneath the baseball to create space.
Head down, good look and swing.
You just get that foot down a hair early. It's easier to say, and he knows it. It's easier to say than do.
1 ball and 2 strikes. It'll be a battle now.
As a hitter, when you know that, you almost have to get your foot down to where it's uncomfortably early, to where it feels weird, and guess what? You'll be right on time. You get the barrel out, you'll square something up and say, oh, that's what I've been looking for. That's the feeling I've missed for a month.
He's going to be called out on a fastball up in the zone away. And the Nats strand their first 3 base runners of the day. Warriors and our returning servicemen and women. So today it's our DynCorp International Troop Recognition. At DynCorp, we serve today for a better tomorrow.
And yesterday I got to go down there and do that for the first time with the Wounded Warriors. Sat with my buddy John Hayes, Gunny Sergeant John Hayes, who was down there. Caught up with him, and I'll tell you what, Carp, we're up here in the booth and we see that every day, and it's powerful. But when you're standing down there waving the red hat and the curly W with those guys, very emotional experience for me yesterday being a part of that. Very, very cool.
We cannot stand and clap for them enough. Top of the 5th. Brandon Phillips has hit the ball hard twice today. The 2-run single up the middle in the first, and then that hard line drive that Adam LaRoche turned into a 3-6 double play in the second.
I'm looking at my scorecard right now. I don't think I've ever done this before, but 4 strikeouts in an inning.
Yeah, I think that's the 5th Cincinnati pitcher to do that. Rendon kept it close, and he threw him out. Joe Nuxall, Mario Soto, Tim Burtsis, and Frankie Rodriguez all had 4 Ks in an inning. Hey, there's Billy Hatcher, first base coach for the Reds. It's our AT&T fact of the game. So he batted .519 and had 7 consecutive hits in the 1990 World Series.
In the zone.
Beat Tony La Russa's A's. That was the year after the earthquake series with the A's and the Giants. That's how good those Oakland teams were back then, and Cincinnati took care of business. Danny Espinosa right there, 2 quick outs. And then Jay Bruce will step in, 1 for 2. Well, the 3rd inning was pretty good. Got the double play ball, the 3-6-3. And Ross has a chance for a very economical inning here. He's due to bat 3rd in the bottom of the 5th. Nobody throwing in the bullpen yet. Nats bullpen fairly fresh on the heels of what Gio and Jordan did on Thursday and Friday. Duke got 2 hitters, Clippard 1 yesterday. Then Drew Storn and Rafael Soriano had full innings of work. And it won't be a 1-2-3 inning. Jay Bruce is 2 for 3. Going to bring in Xavier Paul. Oh for 2 today. Reds have 10 hits now, 9 yesterday. Runner goes. That's a little pop fly, and Detweiler stopped as if he thought somebody behind him might be there, and the ball falls in. A pop fly single on the infield. We're seeing about every kind of infield hit you can see today.
And if you're the Nationals, that's the worst hit you've ever seen in your life, and if you're Xavier Paul, that's the greatest hit you've ever had in the history of baseball. Watch this. Ball's not carrying to center field, obviously, but it gets right over Detweiler's head, has enough rotation on it to get away from Ian Desmond, and the stumble by Detweiler on the mound might have cost him making that play. Just had a little trip as he tried to go back over the mound to make a tough play. It's a beautiful thing. If you're Xavier Paul, I'd be smiling too.
Somebody in the Reds dugout just said a grown man hit that ball. And here's Corky Miller, and he had the one off Detweiler's hip, we think, last time. But he'll pop it up on the first delivery. Adam LaRoche is out. Espinosa calls him off, and a very interesting inning comes to a close. 8 pitches to 5 batters. Hit that wiffle ball. Hit it out of the park, buddy. From way out there in left field where Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight work. Beautiful Nationals Park and a big crowd on a Sunday afternoon. It is late April. Harris Teeter Family Fun Pack. A lot of folks in the park yesterday and today because of it. It's all inclusive. For just $19, you get a ticket to the game, a hot dog, chips, and a drink. Available online only, nationals.com/family, and some restrictions apply. Anthony Rendon leads off. It's the bottom of the fifth, and the Nats have been shut out on one hit. Craig Stammen ready. He'll take over in the sixth. And it looks like the Nats will bat Tyler Moore after Kurt Suzuki. Trying to load up on some right-handed bats here.
I'm impressed with Tony Cingrani so far in this baseball game. He threw a changeup to Espinoza for the double. Then after that decided, you know what? I'm going back to my college closer days, and I'm going all heat. And if you can hit it, you can hit it. If you can't, you can't. And went after Desmond, went after LaRoche with all fastballs. And got out of the jam.
89 pitches, 59 strikes for Ross Detweiler.
That's where that closer mentality comes in great if you're a converted closer to a starter. You always got that in your back pocket.
Reach back heat, huh?
Just the mentality.
Yeah.
I'm going to be my own closer right here. Bases loaded, jammed. I'm in a little bit of a pickle right here. I'm going to go to my heat, and you can see the makeup. 90% fastball from Cingrani, and they've all been with lots of late life.
Rendon hits it well. That ball is hooking, and it is in front of Xavier Paul. Anthony Rendon checks in with his second hit of this series. 2 for 5. The Nationals' second hit today.
A nice piece hitting his first time up. Lined out to center field. Got inside an inside fastball. Hit it well. Second time up. Did a nice job of being aggressive and getting that head out with a line drive single. The more you see this guy, the more you like him.
You know, I was just thinking about something. Rendon started the season at Harrisburg. Does he go back to Harrisburg, or maybe does he get a promotion out of all this and maybe ends up in AAA? That'll be interesting to see based on roster needs and his development, what decision Mike Rizzo makes and all that.
Well, you cross that bridge when you come to it, and that bridge will be Friday. You never know.
Yeah, get enough hits. There may not be a decision to be made.
If there's a roster spot open before that, maybe you stay. You know, with an injury or something like that. You don't know you're going back for sure yet.
Here's Suzuki, and he takes a strike. Kurt Suzuki flared one to right center. Brandon Phillips went out and got it first time up. That's starting to make some noise here. 4 of their last 7 batters have been on base.
Is that just a BP fastball at 89, or was that a hard changeup?
I guess we could call it a changeup if it did something like dipping or diving, but sometimes I'll just throw the routine fastball in there like it's a 3-0 count.
Sometimes you ask the umpire, what was that last pitch? He says strike.
This one out to left center. A long run for Shin-Soo Choo, and he gets there. Now we'll see Tyler Moore. Well, Tyler Moore, as a pinch hitter, still looking for his first base hit. 0 for 7. He's 4 for 21 overall, but he sure has made those hits count. 3 of them doubles, and he has 4 RBIs. 26-year-old first baseman outfielder from Brandon, Mississippi. Looks at a fastball upstairs. 90. Looks like we might be getting a sprinkle or two here.
It's been one of those days so far. Why not add a little rain?
Didn't think we were going to get through April at home without some rain. Let's hope there's no rain delay attached to it. Despite some of the cold temperatures, the games have gone on and been played straight through, and that's really what you want. You don't want all kind of interruptions messing with your starting pitching. 1 ball, 1 strike. Target in. Good take by Tyler Moore.
I'm just saying velocity's dropped dramatically here in the 5th inning for Cingrani. Maybe having to get out of that bases loaded jam using his A+ stuff, but the fastball in the 80s all of a sudden, versus in the mid to upper 90s last inning.
Threw 24 pitches in that inning. And remember, Detweiler faced 5 batters, but Ross only threw 8 pitches the whole inning, and that got the Nats right back in the dugout. So something interesting is going on here.
I wonder if he's all right. That 189 too.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Could be spent.
Tyler Moore goes fishing. Would have been ball 3. He's down 2 outs. Strikeout number 9. Tomorrow night and through Thursday night from Atlanta, on to the Berg on Friday. Steven Strasburg, Julio Teheran tomorrow night. Gio and Tim Hudson Tuesday. Jordan Zimmerman, Paul Mahalam Wednesday. The Nats owe that guy one. And then Dan Heron and Chris Medlin on Thursday before we move on to PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Atlanta Braves, by the way, this year at home 6-2. They've been on the road a lot. Top of the order, Denard Span. Got that one at 92 up in the zone. Span 0-2 here in the 5th. So Anthony Rendon 4 for 20 as a big league hitter. He's hit the ball on the button twice today. Hanging out with Joey Votto, no big deal. Sunday afternoon. Denard not biting on that high heater. Breaking ball, looked like he held. Rob Drake agrees. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just enough of it to stay alive. Pitch count. Next one will be 90. And Denard Span will step out, get back in there. He's lined out hard to left, struck out, but went to first on a wild pitch, leading off the 4th. Stranded at 3rd. Inside. Corky Miller held it there for a while, but he was reaching over from the other side of home plate where he'd been set up.
Who knows what happens on this pitch right here to Denard Span, but right now Tony Cingrani's gassed. 90 pitches, and you could just tell different look on the mound this inning all the way around.
Nothing happening except a little stretching in the Reds bullpen. He's due to bat first in the top of the 6th. Well, anytime you strike out 9, even if you only walk 1 guy, you're going to have a large pitch count. Had to strike out 4 guys last inning because of the wild pitch. Three-2 again. And Span, great at bat, but he hits it right at Xavier Paul. It handcuffs him. Trent Jewett sending the runner. Here comes Rendon, and they've got him.
Anthony Rendon assumed that he caught the ball. He stopped running between second and third and couldn't start it up again. Right there, he stopped. He saw the ball kick away, thought he caught it, and that was the difference.
Presidents who've won races this year. Abe took out Teddy, and that took out George. Abe trying to win his first. Pardon me, Tom taken out, and George able to win it. So 2 presidents out of 5 have won races this year. Crazy. Craig Stammen takes over, top of the 6th. And Tony Cingrani will lead off. He's 1 for 1. With a base hit, a sacrifice, and a run scored. 8th appearance for Craig Stammen with a 3.38 ERA, 13 strikeouts in just under 11 innings.
Yeah, 3 pitches, fastball, slider, curve. 2-seam fastball, low 90s.
One ball and 2 strikes.
I bet you if you ask Trent Jewett right now, he thought that ball kicked farther away from Xavier Paul where he was standing looking out there, the angle he had.
Funny looking swing for the strikeout. And the other thing is, Pete, situation like that with 2 outs, he's probably watching the ball. He may not have been aware that Rendon had paused between second and third, or actually first and second. So that was kind of a crazy play there.
Up by 4, good play. Down by 4, not so much. It happens, though, when you're aggressive.
It was scored E7 and then 7-6-2 on the out at home. Shin-Soo Choo. 0 for 3 today and 1 for 13 in the series. So I would say it's pretty obvious, even with great hitters like Votto and Phillips behind him, Shin-Soo Choo is the engine that makes this Cincinnati offensive machine really run when he gets on base. And coming into this series, he had been doing that at a ridiculous rate. His on-base percentage coming into town was .534. Coming into the ball game today, .504. Greg Stammen throws a 1-2 slider in the dirt. Counts even. Good running fastball. Just missed.
If you're wondering if Tony Cingrani's staying in this baseball game, Dusty Baker, when he was my manager in San Francisco, had a lead. He would let the pitcher hit and then go to his bullpen so that he still had a full bench should the game get close late.
And Dusty's short a guy, we think, because it looked like Chris Heisey might have pulled a hamstring going by first base yesterday.
So, I mean, it's a smart move as a manager. Why would you burn a bench guy with a 4-run lead?
Yeah.
As you look at the Reds box score.
And they are starting to warm up Sam LeCure now as the rain comes down harder.
And there's really no need to burn a bench player when you have a lead. It's a smart move. He's done it pretty much his whole managerial career.
3-2 pitch. Stammen gets a ground ball. Adam LaRoche on the charge. 2 outs. Miller Lite Party Nights Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for home games. Get a scoreboard, pavilion, seat, and a drink starting at $21. It's available online only. Visit nationals.com/party. Some restrictions apply.
And also Mike like Cingrani versus Harper too, who's due up second. So we'll see how it plays out.
Rendon has to back up for that one off the bat of Zach Cozart, and that pulls Adam LaRoche off the bag. And then LaRoche made some contact with Cozart going by, and that will probably be the Nats' second error of the day and their 23rd in 25 games.
I mean, just a wild throw right here from Anthony Rendon. You got the in-between hopped in. Nice job of setting himself and then got underneath the throw, and Adam LaRoche has had some tough chances over there on throws this year from across the infield. It's another one right there.
Joey Votto. Good fastball.
That two-seam fastball down the zone, 92 miles an hour. Right where Kurt Suzuki wanted it. Right where Craig Stammen wanted it.
Votto today 2 for 3, nearly homered last time up, pinning Denard Span up against the fence out there at the bullpen, left center. Got him on a breaking ball in the dirt. Votto will walk away, and that'll do it for the inning. Umpire finally calls him out. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Espinosa, Harper, and Worth. Let's Go sales event now through April 30th. South Capitol Street, right alongside Nationals Park.
Check out that last slider in the dirt from Craig Stammen. The Verizon Fios Exmo getting on top of that, put some serious spin on it through the raindrops and the strobe light behind it. And Votto swings it, it's in the dirt. Look at the raindrops at the Exmo. How cool is that?
If only you had that much time to react to a nasty slider, huh?
Yeah. Try doing the replay.
Danny Espinosa. One of the Nats' 2 hits. Hard double down the right field line last time up.
Hey, as ugly as this game has been so far, you're still one swing away from tying it up. Get some base runners on. Never know what happens. You got some outs left to play with. You won the first 3 games of the series. Never know.
A lot of outs to get. Many bullpens have found that out in the first month of this season in both leagues. Danny struck out in the first, doubled in the 4th. Harper and Worth to follow here in the 6th. Good job of IDing the breaking ball. The count's even.
The Reds with 11 hits so far in this game, 10 of them singles. And they've been a wide variety of singles, too. A couple of infield singles. Getting guys on base, cashing in, getting some big hits, but finding holes.
Espinosa will pop it up short center. Brandon Phillips got out there in a hurry. Bottom of the 6th underway. Masson giving you the chance to win a meet and greet with Mike Rizzo. Text the word of the day, Harper, to 29292. Your chance to win. Keep watching all week long for more chances to score with Masson.
One-year anniversary for Bryce Harper. What did you get somebody for the year anniversary? What did we say yesterday? Punch bowl, maybe? Paper? Get a lot of that soon. It'll be green.
Give him a free trip to Atlanta tonight.
A clock. Candlesticks making a nice gift.
Pretty sure he gets his baseball gear for free, so we don't have to go down that road.
No, they pay him.
Harper is swinging a foul tip. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's grounded to second. Struck out swinging. Pretty good breaking ball by Cingrani right to the end of his bat. Well, we showed this several innings ago. It's worth looking at again. Bryce Harper, first calendar year in the big leagues with Griffey, Mantle, and Tony C.
Unreal numbers, unreal company. And better than the other 3.
Wow, twice the home runs plus of Mickey Mantle. One of the reasons is great batting eye. Didn't bite on that 2-2 pitch. He's going to be called out on strikes. A fastball, and Bryce knew it. Strikeout number 10 for Tony Cingrani. Mercedes-Benz to track it.
Well, he's still got 95 in the tank, so the 103rd pitch of the day for Tony Cingrani, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to Bryce Harper for strike 3. Looking out of the corner of his eye to see if Dusty's coming to get him with a right-hander coming up. Ain't happening.
So the only hits: double by Espinosa in the 4th, Rendon leadoff hit in the 5th. So now with Johnny Cueto having only made 3 starts, this young man becomes very important to the Cincinnati staff.
It's been impressive to say the least.
It's gone 5-7 in his first 2 starts this year. 5 against Miami when he got plenty of run support. Reds won 11-1. Then he went 7 against the Cubs. 10-inning game, lost 4-2, but he gave up only 2 runs, 5 hits in 7 innings. And he's trying to go way beyond that here. Not that he'll go way beyond 7, but way beyond the hits and the runs.
He struck out 9, walked none his last time out against the Cubs. And today has 10 punchouts in 5 2/3.
Fastball outside, 2-2. Nats need Ian Desmond to bat in this inning.
A lot of fastballs, 86%. 2-strike varieties been up, climbing the ladder nicely, getting ahead. Ten strikeouts, 6 flyouts. Yeah, not a lot of ground balls when you throw fastballs in the mid-90s, chest high.
Yeah, that was Bryce Harper back in the first. A couple of fly balls have been on the infield. 2-2 pitch. Worth is gone. Strikeout number 11. 18 outs, 11 on strikes. Tony Cingrani dominant. 11 strikeouts. Ross Detweiler battled his way through 5, trying to keep this thing close.
And I'll go back to the first inning. Big knock in this game. Brandon Phillips with 2 strikes. No stride back up the middle. That scores Zach Corzart and Joey Votto. And the Nats 11-1 when they score first. 2-10 when their opponent scores first. And that's why we showed you that again. That's a big hit in this ballgame.
So Phillips leads off in the 7th. Another inning of work for Craig Stammen, who threw 16 pitches, 11 for strikes in the 6th. In the air to center. Well hit. Span back. He's going to catch another one right in front of a wall against these Reds.
Spanning. It's in the park. He's going to catch it. Don't panic.
MLB.tv enables you to watch every out-of-market game live online on your mobile device. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere, and check out that HD quality with MLB.tv Premium. Todd Frazier, 1 for 3 with a base hit.
Do you remember last year with Sean Burnett how he would say his outings were boring? By the way, best wishes to him. He went on the disabled list today for the Angels. But Craig Stammen's that guy this year, to where he's just coming in and getting the job done every single time, getting out of big situations, pounding the strike zone with that two-seam fastball, striking guys out with that now you see it, now you don't slider. And I feel like he's graduating to the next level right now as a professional big-time reliever. I mean, you can bring him into any situation, I feel like, the way he's been pitching this year and maybe even back to last year.
As recently as 2 years ago, 24 starts at AAA. He's become an outstanding big league reliever, figuring some things out at the age of 29. Really figured it out last year. 88 innings, 87 strikeouts. He jammed the hitter pretty well there. Ball hanging up for Bryce Harper, and 2 outs here in the 7th.
But you don't think of him as a long man anymore. Davey Johnson has to be thinking about using him in some big situations with a lead, and we've seen Davey do that in the past with guys that maybe came into games when it was tied or behind that move into that role. And I don't know where that role would be, but you throw him in there with a 1-run lead, and I think everybody in that first base dugout would be fine with Craig Stammen standing on the mound at any time.
Jay Bruce is 2 for 3 today, and he's hit the ball sharply 3 times. That's a fly ball near the barrier left field. Bryce Harper's under it. And a good inning for Craig Stammen. What else is new? 2 good innings. 7th inning stretch brought to you by Hyundai. Gonna move on to your Hyundai dealer during the Let's Go sales event. Find great savings in every new Elantra, but hurry, this event ends April 30th. Nats trying to battle back with 9 outs to go. by PNC Bank, for the Achiever in you, and by Acura. Cloudy, rainy day on the banks of the Anacostia. The Nats still have some time to work with here, as they're down by 4 going into the bottom of the 7th. And they will be into the Cincinnati bullpen here. It's on to Atlanta, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Steven Strasburg. He lost to the Braves, gave up 2 runs on 6 innings, 7 strikeouts. None of those runs were earned, and he pitched very well in that Saturday game. And then Julio Teheran got a no decision in 6 innings here at Nationals Park. So coverage begins at 6:30 with Nats Extra tomorrow night. We'll join you from the booth at 7. Then the Nats and the Braves play the first of 4. This call to the bullpen is packaged by the UPS store. We love logistics, and it's right-hander Sam LeCure.
LeCure, 4-pitch guy, fastball, slider, curveball, change, fastball, 2-seam variety in the low 90s. You see the numbers, 0.93 ERA. Opponents average 147. Lefties having a tough time at 0.59.
Check out some more Sunday smiles around Nationals Park. Fans enjoying the day, even though the score is 4-0. DentaQuest provides affordable dental coverage for priceless smiles and reminds you, ask your broker about DentaQuest.
Well, 5-run 7th would get everybody smiling. We could show anybody, anytime, anywhere in this ballpark.
Well, the Santangelo philosophy of anybody but him gets the starter out of the game, and now the Reds bullpen has to get 9 outs.
No offense to Sam LeCure, he's a great pitcher. You saw the numbers, but when you're facing a guy that's having success against you as a hitter, you just want to see anybody else on the mound but him.
Reds relievers a 4.50 ERA in the first 3 games of this series. Sam LeCure unscored upon in his last 4 appearances. Trying to do something about that, Ian Desmond 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts against the lefty, who struck out 11 today. Henry Rodriguez, after 2 really good innings, again by Craig Stammen. Desmond pops one up right field line. If it's fair, it's problems for the Reds. It's in there. And Desmond will go back into first base with a leadoff hit.
It all started with a bloop single to right off the bat of Ian Desmond. And he will definitely take that, and I feel like there should be a few more in the bag here for the rest of this game. Just ran out of bat on a slider up and away from Sam LeCure. Perfectly placed. He was thinking about 2, but right now down by 4, you just need base runners. Put on the brakes, went back to first. Jay Bruce tried to backdoor him. Leadoff man aboard here in the 7th for the Nats.
Adam LaRoche 0 for 2. Pair of called 3rd strikes.
Broke his bat on that first offering. I'm saying that's the one that works. He picked the right bat.
Target away. Adam LaRoche career against Sam LeCure, 1 for 4.
Seems like he's had 2 strikes on him every at bat all month. I'm telling you, the difference, the reason why when you're struggling you hit with 2 strikes is because you're missing your pitch. You're fouling it back. When you're locked in, you're either standing on second or grounded out or back to the dugout. But when you're struggling, you get your pitch in your spot. You're a little bit tardy, or for whatever reason, you foul it off and you find yourself hitting with 2 strikes consistently. And that's been the story in April for LaRoche. Behind in the count.
Breaking ball strikes him out. 12th strikeout by the Reds pitching staff today. Well, the Nats have only walked once. Worth back in the 4th. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield, $50 to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington, D.C. So almost $70 and $3,450 so far. Take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Here's Anthony Rendon. He's lined out to center, singled to left. He's hit the ball well twice. Front door breaking ball stays inside. Two-0 pitch, and Desmond back standing. LeCure working slowly. That's up and in, ball 3. Mercedes will track it.
Excuse me, Carpy's been up with everything so far this inning. Fastball up and in. Corky Miller trying to frame it, didn't get the call. And at this point in the game, like I just said, you need base runners any way you can get them. Keep that line moving. Put a little rally together.
4-pitch walk, 2 on, 1 out.
Sean Marshall getting loose in the Reds bullpen, and that's for, I would imagine, Chad Tracy.
Kurt Suzuki coming up. Marshall just off the DL Friday.
And that's where, if you're Davey Johnson, you throw the switch hitter in the on-deck circle maybe, and not play your hand and have whoever ready down in the tunnel. And Lombardozzi jumps out with a bat, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He may hit, but it also could be a deke to keep the right-hander in the game. We'll see how it works. And now Chad Tracy moves in the on-deck circle. On-deck strategy, chess match all of a sudden.
Ball 1. Outside to Suzuki, who's never faced LeCure.
Five balls in a row. 6 balls in a row.
Over but low. Complexion of this game could change in a heartbeat. Sean Marshall heating up quickly now.
One more ball, it's going to be a new toothpick for Dusty Baker. I'll guarantee it. That one ain't working. Seven balls in a row.
He's tried everything. Now Lombardozzi to the on-deck circle. Tracy just went back in the dugout.
Well, I feel if this is ball 4, Dusty Baker has to go get him, and then you're going to get the lefty Sean Marshall, and then Lombardozzi will swing around, hit right-handed.
He's going to get a strike call on that one that was tailing in toward the corner.
Tough call for Kurt Suzuki right here. Down by 4. Do you swing 3-1 or do you fill it up? Try to get the tie and run to the plate.
Big pitch for the Reds here, 3-1. And Suzuki pulls it left field corner. It is at the wall. 1-run home. Here comes Rendon. He's going to stop at third. The Nats are on the board as Kurt Suzuki laces one to left.
That was a missile. Great at-bat by Kurt Suzuki. Got to a 3-1 count. Said, I'm not taking anything FP. I'm hacking right here. Double down the corner and got a center cut fastball. Got the head out, and one of the harder hit balls we've seen off the bat of Kurt Suzuki this year, and he's hit a lot of balls hard. Hit too hard to score Rendon, the trail runner. The ball kicked funny down there. Jewett had a chance to send Rendon, but he had to hold him. Based on being down by 4, and that's going to do it for Sam LeCure going to the bullpen. And here comes the big lefty, Sean Marshall.
4 batters. He struck one out, walked one. Blue pit, laser beam of a double, and it'll be Lombardozzi and Marshall in a moment. Collection of Washington baseball memorabilia. This is Sam Rice's jersey. He was with the Nats from the teens until 1933. Played on a couple of pennant-winning teams. Nothing on the front. Of course, no numbers or names back then. But paying tribute to our soldiers and our folks overseas. A lot of the teams wore the Stars and the Stripes crest on their uniforms. And I'm telling you, this is one heavy flannel uniform to wear during a Washington summer.
Yeah, it's pretty authentic too. There's like tobacco juice right here. I mean, it's awesome.
Very cool there. S. Rice right here. Sam Rice did a little bit of pitching. He was an outstanding outfielder, and he didn't fall short by far of 3,000 hits in his major league career. Retired in his 40, but one of the great names into the Washington Sports Hall of Fame this weekend.
That's great. Congratulations. And that jersey could be some good karma for the Nats right now facing Sean Marshall.
Rally jersey. Thank you, Phil Wood.
I was told how much that jersey's worth, and I'm not going to say it on the air, but it's worth a lot.
Yeah, we want Phil to get home safely.
Yeah. Might stick it in my bag right here.
Steve Lombardozzi from the right side is 5 for 11 this year. Runners at second and third, 1 out. The Nats are down by just 3. Sam Rice, by the way, is in the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. 2,987 hits Lombardozzi looks at a first pitch breaking ball that misses.
Yeah, Marshall, 3-pitch guy, fastball, slider, curve. He throws that slider half the time. That pitch right there, Lombardozzi, first pitch curveball.
Marshall pitched a scoreless inning yesterday. He misses inside with the fastball. Steve Lombardozzi has not faced him before. 300 hitter this year with runners in scoring position, driving in 3 runs, and he's done it with extra base hits. Big roundhouse curveball drops in.
That's the last thing you're looking for right there. If you're Lombardozzi, you're sitting dead red looking for a fastball in the 2-0 count. Drops the 76-mile-an-hour curveball in their backdoor variety for strike one.
Big crowd, 36,457 making noise. 2-1 pitch, and Steve fouled it straight back. Hey, and by the way, the weekend draws 132,953, averaging over 33,000. But look, listen to this. For the first time in their history, the Nationals draw over 500,000 fans in the month of April. 509,006. So thanks for braving some tough weather, you Nats fans, during this first month of the season. And the ball club well on its way to well over 2 million in attendance this year. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lombardozzi hits it up the middle. Marshall stabs it and throws him out. 2 down. Good play by the lanky left-hander who's got quite a wingspan.
Well, that's just a rough break right there. You're thinking as a hitter, I want to hit the ball to the middle of the ballpark. The corners are in, so if you're Lombardozzi, you're just trying to hit something in the middle, and you hit it hard, but it's right back at the pitcher. If that ball's to Zach Cozart, it's a run. Suzuki gets to third.
Yeah, and maybe only a guy who's 6'7" has the reach to make that play. It is up to Denard Span. Bottom of the 7th inning. Reds lead 4-1. The Nats have scored a run here. They have 2 other men aboard, and Denard Span 0 for 3 today as the hitter. Washington trying to come from behind and sweep this 4-game series. Denard Span 0 for 1 career with a ground ball against Marshall.
A couple of hard baseballs to left field. First time up, line drive to Paul. Last time up, line drive that Paul couldn't handle. They scored an error. It could have went either way.
Two hits in an inning for the first time today. Crucial runners aboard here to try to tighten this game up. Late swing, 0-2. Third base Rendon, second base Suzuki. Quirky Miller out for a visit.
Well, we've seen Denard Span hit with 2 strikes a lot this year, and a lot like Brandon Phillips in the fact that he will take the stride out of his swing, spread out, and just try to play pepper and put the ball in play. Not afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
J.J. Hoover. Switch hitter Danny Espinosa next. And then Harper, of course, if the inning continues. Denard pulls it, and it's foul.
The best thing about this 2-strike count right now is Kurt Suzuki going to get a good jump at second base. He sees the hands go. He's taken off.
Such a tough guy to strike out with 2 strikes.
They'll do a nice job of fouling that fastball off. Sean Marshall hasn't shown him a slider yet. He throws it half the time. It's got to be in the back of Denard Span's head right here, but you have to respect 90. Look fastball, adjust to everything else off speed. Try to pick up the rotation early.
Span continues to hang tough.
And Sean Marshall continues to feed him fastballs at an 0-2 count for strikes. I like the fact that Denard Span stepped out right there. Anytime you see a pitcher shake 3 or 4 times, it gets in your head as a hitter to where you're thinking, why did he just shake 3 times? What does he shake into? I'm going to call timeout and reset this whole thing. Start it over.
Off speed inside. Span up the middle, but that's where Zach Cozart is playing. And the Nats are gone in the 7th. They get a run, leave 2. They've stranded 6. It's now a 4-1 game.
Today, and we're going to go back to Craig Stanman versus Joey Votto. Show you the whole at bat. First pitch fastball away, 2-seamer, strike 1. Then he goes paint on the black, strike 2. Show him a fastball in the inner half, and then pull the string on the slider for the whiff.
Henry Rodriguez throwing the ball pretty effectively lately. 9th appearance, 8 innings. The strikeouts are down, and that's not a bad thing because he's been getting some contact outs. The league's only hitting $138 against him, so if he can keep that walk total at bay, it's 6 right now for a while, he'll be okay.
Well, if you look at his fastball average in 2010 in Oakland, it was 98.8. Then 97.7 last year, and this year 95. So the velocity down, but the command better. There's a slider change to go with it. I still call it a hard curve at 84 miles an hour, but the tempo's been better for Henry Rodriguez. His windup has been a little bit quicker, and he's been throwing strikes.
This copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Bottom of the order for the Reds. Sean Marshall does a solid job for them coming in, getting 2 ground ball outs. They'll be hitting for him shortly, with Xavier Paul leading off and then Corky Miller. Jonathan Broxton. Xavier Paul with a grand slam off Henry Rodriguez in Cincinnati. High heat, 1 hopper. Henry can run it right over to Adam LaRoche. Potomac Nationals back in Woodbridge, and Ryan Zimmerman is scheduled to be there Tuesday and Wednesday. Enjoy a $1 Monday, all-you-can-eat Wednesday, Steve Lombardozzi poster night, best fireworks in minor league baseball. That's Saturday, and the kids eat free on Sundays. PotomacNationals.com. If you missed it earlier, Ryan Zimmerman scheduled to play 3 to 4 innings for the Peanuts on Tuesday, and then 6 innings or so on Wednesday. Reds don't have anybody in the on-deck circle. Looks like Derek Robinson might be heading that way. He's a little quicker on the bases than he was getting out there, I'll tell you that. This man can fly. Corky Miller infield hit in 3 trips. And then Robinson here in the 8th. That was a 93 upstairs.
Did Corky Miller just take his helmet off to see if it hit him after that pitch? If you're not awake, that'll definitely wake you up. 93 right at your coconut.
Some of these pitches end up in unusual places. 1 on, 1 out.
Well, that one hit the bricks and came back, and on a bounce almost hit Henry Rodriguez in the head.
That went farther than Corky Miller's hit earlier today.
I mean, the fastball went off the bricks. Henry looked down to get a new baseball, and it ricocheted all the way back out to him. 2 of the weirdest pitches you'll see back to back all season. Watch where the ball goes. Look out. Look out. I mean, you just don't see that every day.
Fastball upstairs to Derek Robinson. 1 on, 1 out. Robinson as a pinch hitter, 2 for 8. '25-year-old outfielder, switch hitter from Gainesville, Florida, who stole 314 bases in his minor league career. Shows bunt, pulled the bat back, ball 2. He had stolen base seasons of 62, 69, 50, and 55. He led his league in steals 4 different times, single A, double A.
I don't know if you keep the bunt on right here if you're Dusty Baker.
Henry all over the place now.
Based on the last 5 pitches, would have trouble giving the other team an out with a bunt. Especially with 1 out.
Now suddenly the Nats have to warm up Ryan Matthews. Two walks. Top of the order, Shin-Soo Choo.
Yeah, squaring in a 3-1 count right there. Dusty Baker playing serious small ball here, up by 3 runs. I wonder if he's just showing right there to get to a 3-2 count. Regardless, he's on.
That's Steve McCaddy on his way.
Well, this is a trip to calm Henry Rodriguez down, but it's also a trip to get Ryan Matthews loose, who just popped up. Should Henry fall behind right here, or continues to be a little bit wild, this is giving Ryan Matthews a chance to get loose. And with Katy Perry at the White House Correspondents' thing last night, you almost knew that Ryan Matthews was going to get into this game today.
Yeah, they said the red carpet was really something. Well, you got to throw at least 1 pitch, right, to the next batter. I wonder if Davey would give him 1 more and then maybe bring in Matthews, who's good against left-handed batters. I mean, how far can you take this when you still have a shot? Not very close. Runners stay.
But when the wheels come off for Henry, they don't usually change. When he loses it, he loses it. There's been times when he's walked a few guys and figured it out, but right now hasn't been close for about 6-7 pitches.
Two one. Ball 3. Zach Cozart will not be facing Henry Rodriguez, you would think. Bases are loaded. Boos to cheers now as Davey comes out. Ryan Matthews is in a jam with Cozart and Votto, the next 2 hitters. Matthews. More on him in a moment. Mid-Atlantic Sports Report back Monday, 5 to 6:30 with Tom, Mel, Phil, and Dave. Mel will have a look at how some of the offseason trades are working out early, and the guys will have their weekly stock report on MLB shortstops. The Mid-Atlantic Sports Report tomorrow. And of course at 6:30, Nats Extra, 7 o'clock, Nats baseball from Atlanta. And there's Ryan Matthews in his 9th appearance.
Well, he's looking for that ground ball with that two-seam fastball, slider fork to go with it. See the opponent's average, 308. But Davey Johnson bringing Ryan Matthews in this game to salvage this inning and keep his ball club in this game.
Yeah, with Ryan in there, you're always one pitch away from getting out of it. Zach Cozart, 0 for 3 career against him. One of those, a ground ball. And that is beyond the reach of Anthony Rendon.
Right-handed hitter. First pitch two-seamer, foul ball down the third baseline off Ryan Matthews. How many times have you seen that?
There's 2 of them. And he'll bounce one. Hurt Suzuki, no problem on the block.
Anthony Rendon playing very shallow at third base in a 2-strike count right now. I'll tell you, he's maybe thinking about coming home with this.
That ball was a hanging breaking ball and hit to left. Sac fly. Harper to return it, and the Reds lead 5-1. So they get that run back. The Nats scored last inning. Zach Cozart, first RBI, well, second RBI of this game and this series. And now Joey Votto, first and second, 2 outs. So Cozart got a breaking ball up, knew what to do with it. And Joey Votto 2 for 4 today. He has faced Ryan Matthews twice and been walked both times.
That's a tough situation right now for Ryan Matthews. Didn't get the ground ball from Zach Cozart he was looking for. And now that two-seam fastball is exactly where Joey Votto likes it, away.
Lines it hard. Danny Espinosa picks it out of the air. Inning over. The Nats will have Espinosa, Harper, and Worth down by 4 again.
Cholula flamethrower feature. Cholula hot sauce bringing the heat. And today it was the fastball from Tony Cingrani, and it was electric all day long. 11 strikeouts for Cingrani. Hit 96 a couple of times. He's had it 92 most of the game, but did a nice job commanding that fastball and attacking the strike zone.
And now another right-hander who can bring it, Jonathan Broxton.
Yeah, opponent average 212. Lefty's hitting 231. He is a 3-pitch guy. Fastball, slider, cutter. Fastball's averaging 94 miles an hour.
Saw him for a scoreless one-hit 8th inning on Friday night. He gave up a hit to Danny Espinosa, who then stole second. Danny will be leading off here. And then Harper and Worth. This is the big inning, obviously, because if you don't come up big here, you're looking at Aroldis Chapman in the ninth. Derek Robinson stays into play left field on a double switch. So the Cincinnati pitcher hitting 7th. Danny Espinosa, a double in 3 trips today. He rips one. Look out, Tony Tarasco.
Yeah, first pitch cutter in.
Fastball away. Nats have been out hit 11-4 by the Reds, who had 6 hits and 3 runs in the first 2 innings. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fastball in there.
Yeah, very rare do you see a game where you're out hit 11-4 and you're still in the baseball game.
Yeah, that 5th inning key, losing a runner at home for the last out of the inning. And then 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, unable to add on to the run the Nats got last inning in the 7th. So they've stranded 6 runners today. After nothing for 3 innings, they've had their chances.
You have days like this as a player too, or the same things we're thinking up here about, you know, it's one of those days. You think that as a player too. You win the first 3 games of a series, things start to unravel a little bit, go the other team's way.
Espinosa blown away by 91, Jonathan Broxton. First out here in the 8th.
But you have to fight that feeling mentally and try to figure out a way to get it done when you're having one of those days. And you see the cutter at 91 from Jonathan Broxton. Espinosa over the top for strike 3.
Kinetic North America with the pitch track. From the warfighter in the field to the data in the cloud, we protect our country's most critical assets. Here's Bryce Harper 0 for 3. Ground ball, couple of strikeouts. Has not faced Broxton. Late for that fastball. That was 95. Remember, every time the Nats hit a home run this year, $250 to the Children's National Medical Center. Bryce has been responsible for 9 of the Nats' 27. That's thanks to our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. 0-2 pitch.
Tomorrow I'm going to have the pleasure of a little sit-down one-on-one with Bryce Harper to celebrate his year anniversary in the big leagues. Remember in Dodger Stadium last year, it was the first interview he had as a big leaguer, and right before he went on the air, I turned to him and I said, you know, you're not going back, because there was talk about it, you know, if he didn't produce, that he could go back to AAA. So we're going to catch up.
What did he say when you said that?
He said, you know, I'm just going to try to do the best I can when I'm here, and if I go back, I go back. That's okay.
Cool. 0-2.
I don't think you're going back, Bryce.
He was hitting .250 at Syracuse when the Nats called him up. Then he had a base hit, a sac fly in his first big league game. Target in. Harper pulls it foul. Power matchup here with 1 out, bottom of the 8th. A good batting eye. He takes it inside. 2-2.
I've never seen a young player just have knowledge of the strike zone. You can talk about all his tools, his arm, his speed, his power, his average, and whatever you want. But to me, the thing I marvel at day in and day out is the close pitches that Bryce Harper takes that, in my mind, I'm swinging at up here when I see him about halfway to the plate. It's such a good eye.
Then he gets jammed and fights one off. Jason Worth's been for a couple of strolls in this at bat. Broxton works slowly. Seems like a lot of relievers do these days. He's going to come set sometime here.
Just thinking the same thing. Goodness.
2-2 pitch. Harper laces another one foul.
Trying to get back to that cutter down and in that he spun Bryce around with, but Harper's been on it.
Target is right on the outside corner, and Harper doesn't bite. Look at this at bat. Jonathan Broxton is 28. Bryce Harper looks like the guy with all the experience right here, the way he's just laying off these borderline pitches.
See pitch track? It looks like somebody shot it with a shotgun. In, out, up, down, all over. Trying everything here against Bryce Harper.
What a walk. Who gets excited about walks with 1 out and the base is empty? Well, that's enough to get you going, because that is an unreal approach at the plate by such a young guy.
For a number of reasons. Knowing the situation, a lot of times a hitter, when you're 0 for 3, you expand your zone to try to get something to show for the day. and get a base hit. Bryce Harper right there got into a 2-strike count. And the guy he's standing next to can appreciate that at-bat as much as anybody, Joey Votto.
He's only 13 walks behind Joey, who's had 26.
I mean,
a couple of guys who really know how to hit.
That was a Joey Votto special right there.
Yeah.
Fouling balls off and getting a walk.
Good call. Here's Worth. Jason 0 for 2, a walk, a strikeout.
Boy, if I'm on defense right now for the Reds, I'm thinking about who I'm going to mail Christmas cards to, maybe who I'm going to call after the game, but I'm definitely not ready for a baseball based on the pace right here from Jonathan Broxton.
Worth pumping, and they couldn't get over the top of that one.
And we talk about it all the time. There is nothing better than having somebody come into a baseball game, get on the mound, get a sign, throw a pitch, pound the strike zone. And there is nothing worse as a defender than standing out there waiting 2 minutes between pitches.
Gets a strike call. Ball game just about a minute short of the 3-hour mark here in the bottom of the 8th. Reds 5, Nats 1. And Worth will rip another one straight back.
And he got a cutter up in the zone right there, was on it. Definitely wants another shot at that pitch.
Breaking ball outside.
I'm going to call the kids real quick while I wait for this 2-2 pitch.
Wish them happy next birthdays for me. Crowd trying to keep things going here. It's the bottom of the 8th inning. And Worth will take ball 3. Corky Miller keeps it close, and Bryce Harper's not going anywhere, down by 4.
That good move right there. And how many times have you seen Bryce take off? Aware of the situation. Ball trickles away. Stay at first base. It's all about loading them up right here in the 8th inning.
Ian Desmond waiting, base hit last time.
Rally lid, I like it.
Nice. It's a good look.
She's got hers on too, backwards. Love it.
1 out, 3-2 pitch. Jason Worth hits one to center. Not too far though. Chu will be under it. And that's the second out of the inning, with Ian Desmond coming up. Ian Desmond today, 1 for 3, 5 for 13, couple of RBIs and a walk in the series.
Probably going to get some cutters on the outer half. Now throw that slider occasionally. But it's mostly fastball cutters to righties. Goes first pitch slider. Knows that Ian Desmond's looking for that heat.
Tough to reach.
No, this has been the book on Ian for a couple of weeks. Everything away, breaking away, and it's to a pull swing. And until Ian Desmond jumps out there and starts hitting stuff to right center field, maybe dive across that plate and take that pitch away, I think you'll see the same thing in Atlanta with the Braves. You get a book on somebody and you stay there until they show you they've made the adjustment.
Yeah.
But everything's been away to Ian for a while.
And Corky Miller out there again. Fastball rides high.
But like I always say, a swinging bat is a dangerous bat. And the one thing we know about Ian Desmond is he does not get cheated.
Desmond right out the end of the bat. That ball is short and in the gap, and it's dropped by Shin-Soo Choo. Bryce Harper will score, and this is a 5-2 game. And the Reds have failed to put away a couple of balls in the outfield today.
Well, even though it was off the end like his last at-bat, the ball drops for Ian Desmond. A swinging bat's a dangerous one. He puts it in play with 2 strikes. Choo can't handle it. You just see right off the end, perfectly placed, and it looked like Bruce and Choo are going to collide right here. I don't know what the communication was like, but I think Choo felt the presence of Jay Bruce, and that was the difference. Hustling Bryce Harper scores. And you got another guy in scoring position right now for Adam LaRoche, and a very circuitous route right there by Choo.
Another double for Ian Desmond, by the way.
I saw him break back and then come into that ball, and that's catch a break, looking to cash in, make this a 2-run game right now.
Adam LaRoche against Jonathan Broxton. 1 career hit against him, a double in 6 at-bats and a swing and a foul. So not to be lost in all of that, Ian Desmond's 10th double of the year, leads the league, and his 14th extra base hit. He's in the top 3. By the way, both of his hits have gone the other way today. Not with authority, but he'll take them. He's had his share of lineouts.
Absolutely. Have a 2-strike count for LaRoche.
I don't think anybody's thrown him a ball right down the middle lately. Everything's on a corner. Adams got to battle his way out of this. Base hit here would be huge. It'll get the tying run in the batter's box. And maybe get Aroldis Chapman into this game in the 8th inning. That happens. You never know what might take place.
Base hit right here would be huge, and for Adam LaRoche, you know what else would be huge? May 1st.
New month.
Yep.
April showers may bring May power. We hope.
I like it.
Ian Desmond, by the way, 8th RBI of the year, 3rd of this series. And a 1-2 from Broxton to LaRoche. He gets jammed and pops it up. Brandon Phillips under it. And the Nats settling for some 1 spots today in the 7th and the 8th. And it's a 3-run game into the 9th inning. but I hope he made good use of those warm-up tosses. So here we go to the top of the 9th inning. He's still in there. And tomorrow night it's Steven Strasburg and Julio Teheran. Nats Extra, 6:30. FP and I join you with Julie on our first road trip. We'll be in the booth at 7. First pitch right after that. Strasburg and Teheran, and FP, as advertised, will have a visit with the anniversary boy, Bryce Harper. Who would have thought Steven Strasburg would be 1-4, but that doesn't tell the story. ERA still good, 3.16.
Stuff was great last time out after the first.
Yeah, things are looking up for the starters. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely has a start that he can build on tomorrow in Atlanta. Yeah, he was okay too.
Gio Tuesday against Tim Hudson. Brandon Phillips 1 for 4 with a 2-run single today. Really the big blow of the game because it opened everything up early for the Reds. They've added single runs in the 2nd, 4th, and 8th. Fastball in, 2-1. I think you could hear the exhale of Brandon Phillips as he dove out of that one.
Yeah, I think he was bracing for impact right here. You can hear him. You hear hitters all the time yell, thinking the ball's going to hit him, and it misses him.
Does it feel any better if you yell first?
I just think it's just scary, and you just have to do something.
Little chopper. Here comes Rendon. Bare hand. Does it well. On target. And LaRoche had to cross over in front of the runner. Oh, man. Adam LaRoche just needs some routine plays over there. We'll give a star on both ends for that one.
Yeah, good call. Adam LaRoche has been like a wide receiver running post patterns with Ronnie Lott as a safety this year. And there's been so much traffic over there on every play he makes, but nice bare hand by Rendon. Good throw right on the money, and the best thing about that is that nobody crashed there at first base. Good shot right there. You see the grip on the baseball. When you barehand a ball, you don't have time to find the seams. You just throw it how you catch it. And maybe that's why that ball ran up the line here.
Todd Frazier 1 for 4. Good breaking ball. Ryan needed 7 pitches to get out of that jam in the 8th. Gave up a sac fly. Looking for his 2nd out here in the 9th to keep this thing within 3. And the Nats will be staring down a very overpowering left-hander in a few minutes. It's a changeup that floated way inside. Rendon, Suzuki, and the number 9 spot, probably Chad Tracy for the Nats. Very late swing by Todd Frazier. 2 outs. And that's that nasty sinker, huh?
At 92 miles an hour under the hands.
Some unpleasant, uncomfortable at bats for right-handed batters against this guy.
You see the 2-seam grip right there, getting inside of it. The release point, fingers on top. And the late sink, that's a true sinker right there, folks. A lot of times you call it a 2-seam fastball, it runs into a righty, but that one, in and down. Almost like split action at times.
Very cool starting point of that replay with the 2 fingers pointing right at us. And a 1-0 count to Jay Bruce, who's 2 for 4. On the corner. Ryan throwing well today.
I love that X-Mo. Sometimes I wish my life was an X-Mo.
I don't know. I don't know if I could handle 52 hours in one day.
I mean, think about it. You make all the right decisions. Lots of time to think about things.
See, I was going to say you'd have too much time to think things, and then that little man in your head would start talking to you.
Oh, does he ever? Lots of voices in my head.
Brian's got to keep the ball down. If he threw a pitch up, he wouldn't be able to see it with that ball cap.
That's gamer look right there. I love it.
2-2 pitch.
I used to wear my helmet just like that.
Yeah, I've seen shots of you with the bill way down there.
Well, I did that because I didn't want to know where I was playing. I didn't want to look up and see cameras and people in the stands and maybe really big guys playing in the outfield, so I just pulled the helmet down low and pretended I was an A-ball.
You and the pitcher, huh?
Yeah. People used to ask me all the time, how can you see when you hit? I said, did you see my average? I couldn't.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Bruce hits that ball pretty well to left, but Bryce Harper is drifting with it. And Ryan Matthews retires all 5 batters to settle this late game situation down. That's down by 3.
The Cincinnati Reds, they trail by 3. That's why you play 9 innings. Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight. We're going to give you an extra 30 minutes when this game is over. Hopefully it will not be over that quickly. That's got some work to do, though.
That's some work to do. They've been able to do that before, but they ran into a guy that was a buzzsaw today. The young 23-year-old left-hander Cingrani as he punched out 11 guys and a lot of swings and misses, probably more. 11 guys is the most we've struck out all year long, but a lot of spots that he was throwing the ball that we were swinging and missing.
A lot of things that we can talk about in this one. One of the things, Ray, the Nats have put on the board a run the last 2 innings, so that's a good sign.
Well, they've been swinging the bats well, and you look at a guy like Cingrani, they haven't seen him much. He throws 91 to 96 with that slow curveball, but he didn't have to throw the slow curveball very much. He was just locating a fastball, a lot like Ross Detweiler when Ross is on. Ross today, a little bit more center cut of the plate, left some balls out there, and even when he got ahead, didn't have a bad ball game that first inning. A couple of plays that didn't go his way once again and had to extend innings and throw more pitches, but still had good stuff.
So we invite you to join us for Nats Extra after the game. Let's send you back upstairs to Bob and FP.
Thank you, gentlemen, Johnny and Ray. And even Ray Knight, FP, ex-major leaguers, wouldn't be real comfortable stepping in against this man. 25-year-old left-hander, Aroldis Chapman, 6'4", 205, 38 saves last year. With a 1.51 ERA, and Anthony Rendon sees him in person for the first time. 97 is low. Suzuki next. And then the Nats would have Bernardino or Tracy, depending maybe on the situation. Ball 2.
Down by 3, I think you take a strike until you have the tie and run to the plate. Make Chapman get in the strike zone and then go to work. Last year the fastball averaging close to 98 miles an hour. This year 96 for Chapman.
2-1 pitch. Kurt Suzuki 1 for 3 with an RBI double. Probably the hardest hit ball of the day on the part of either team.
And I feel like we should make that our Hyundai drive of the game.
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I have that kind of power.
You know what they say in broadcasting? When they hand you the card, you've got the power.
Yep.
3-2, base hit, walk, anything here to get somebody aboard. Just to get Chapman off the stretch. He walks off the windup. A lot of guys don't do that. And he will walk Anthony Rendon to start the 9th inning. Remember the never say die Nats of last year? Well, here comes one who hit the ball hard last time up.
It's time for your Hyundai drive of the game, and I'm going to make it Kurt Suzuki's double last time up. Got to a 3-1 count off Sam LeCure. Got a fastball right down the middle, rifled it down to the left field corner. And that scored Ian Desmond. Going to move to your Hyundai dealer during the Let's Go sales event. Find great savings on every new Elantra, but hurry, this event ends April 30th.
The Nats have Jonathan Solano, right-handed batter, on deck. Maybe Davey likes his chances against the lefty better. We'll see how it all works out. I don't think Jonathan's he's had one pinch hitting appearance. That's on the corner. And now Kurt Suzuki has to fight. Out of play right side.
Well, you saw the stats. I mean, lefty's hitting 083 against Chapman. So, yeah, obviously going to be a right-hander with Solano. Go with your last right-handed hitter on your bench. And, you know, he's going to go leadoff hitter mode, try to get on base. Unless Suzuki can climb aboard and he represents a tie and run, then he's going to try to ambush. Probably won't be taking a strike.
Here's the other thing about Jonathan. He's pretty good at taking the ball the other way. He's not always in pull mode. And so Suzuki has fought his way through 2 here.
99. You face guys like this, you almost have to predetermine you're swinging at this pitch. There's not a whole lot of reactionary time. Hard to tell if it's going to be a ball or a strike, especially this tall and lanky when it's on top of you in 99.
72 innings last year, 122 strikeouts. It's crazy numbers. And that's way up and away. Count 1 and 2. That looked like time requested by the catcher, Corky Miller. Time again. Suzuki gets overpowered and pops it up to Zach Kozo. 1 out. Well, a big series coming up. Nats owe the Braves a couple. Atlanta swept here 2 weekends ago. That's a 4-game series. They're all-night games, starting with Strasburg tomorrow night.
And who knows what happens here in the bottom of the 9th, but when you talk about momentum going into a series, I feel like the Nationals have kind of righted the ship here against the Reds, and if they don't come back and win this game right here, taking 3 out of 4 going into Atlanta against a good ball club, starting to play a little better brand of baseball, maybe minus today. I think everything's all right going into that big series, and there's still a lot of game left here today.
Jonathan Solano 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter. 1 for 5 in this stint with the Nats. Hit .314 in 12 games last year. And he gets popped up on the infield for Joey Votto. Foul, a fair ball when it's finally called. 2 outs. Last hope for the Nats. Denard Span in a difficult lefty-lefty matchup.
Well, you go leadoff hitter mode right here. Try to move the game to Espinoza in his right-handed power. See what happens. Get that tie-in run to the plate, and you're okay with whatever happens.
Denard Span 0 for 1 against Chapman in Cincinnati recently. Reds haven't presented him with that many save opportunities. This would be just his 5th of the year if he gets it. Reds are looking for their 2nd road win in 10 games. They're heading to St. Louis while the Nats head to Atlanta. That is nasty. High in the zone. Just in the outside edge. No balls, 2 strikes.
Triple digits. Here's what 100 miles an hour looks like. And that's left on left, too. Pretty good job of getting a piece of that up in the zone at 100.
Yeah, how do you even get to that ball? Aroldis Chapman's ERA right now 0.75 with his 2 outs. And an 0-2 coming way upstairs.
And they were thinking about making this guy their 5th starter this year.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that. Well, Dusty Baker would have a hard time giving up this arm at the back of his bullpen. They get Johnny Cueto back. They'll be fine in that starting rotation. And Span, a swing and a miss. Game over. The Reds salvage one, out hitting the Nationals 11-5. So it's on to Atlanta for FP and for Julie. Bob Carpenter. Long ball game, right? Just under 3.5 hours. So tomorrow night, 6:30 Nats Extra. Ball game at 7. It'll be Steven Strasburg and Julio Teheran. This has been a Masson presentation. Nats Extra post game. Johnny and Ray here at the ballpark coming up in a moment. And from the booth, so long for just a while.